I'm Bob Roberts, your MTAR Government Affairs Director, and this is your Government Affairs Update for the week of Thursday, August 25th. For the better portion of 2011, NAR has been fighting a battle to preserve the Mortgage Interest Deduction, or MID. Recently, some realtors have begun to question whether or not this is still a fight which requires our full attention, as there has been no active legislation to repeal MID. The fact is that now is quite likely the most critical period in the fight to preserve MID, and the reason for that is the recent incident with our nation's debt ceiling. A great deal has been said about the recently reached compromise on raising the debt ceiling. Love it or hate it, it's a reality now, and the American government is moving forward to comply with the new provisions included in it. Both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party have had both positive and negative things to say in regards to what is officially referred to as the Budget Control Act of 2011, but what about the Realtor Party? What do we as an industry think of it? On August 2nd, NAR announced that the debt ceiling bill contained, quote, no direct impact on real estate tax rules or spending provisions. This is great news, but that's not the end of the story. Part of the Budget Control Act creates a Congressional Joint Select Committee, what some are calling the Super Committee or Super Congress, a 12-person group made up of equal parts senators and representatives and equal parts Republicans and Democrats. These 12 legislators are tasked with making $1.5 trillion in cuts to the national budget over the next 10 years, and they have to have those cuts proposed and passed by the end of this year. Which brings us back to MID. The mortgage interest deduction has already come under fire within the last year from both sides of the aisle. In late 2010, the Obama administration's Deficit Commission proposed several recommendations for increasing revenue and lowering the national deficit. Among those recommendations were multiple proposals to drastically reduce or even completely repeal MID. Since then, there has been heated debate amongst both parties about the mortgage interest deduction, with no clear winner in the discussion yet. In January, NAR crafted House Resolution 25, which would have helped to preserve MID. While many representatives from across the country have signed on to support this measure, including most of Tennessee's representatives, it has languished in committee and seen no forward motion since it was referred there. While there's been no concrete protection of MID passed this year, there also hasn't been any actual legislative repeal proposed this session either. Some would argue that no news is good news where MID is concerned, but now the Super Congress changes everything. The legislation that this committee writes will be totally immune to amendments and to filibusters, so it'll all have to pass or fail solely on the laws as they're first written. That takes back-end support, such as clamoring for a tweak to the proposed laws, off the table, making it all the more important that we make our voices heard now before the laws are written. With a goal of $1.5 trillion in cuts, the Super Committee will undoubtedly have to at least examine the option of cutting MID. The Deficit Reduction Commission estimated that repealing MID would create $318 billion in revenue over 10 years, and that's bound to be a tempting target for the Super Congress. However, NAR research indicates that eliminating MID would also cause a 15% decline in home values nationwide, which would cause a far greater damage to the complex American economy than the cuts would ultimately be able to offset. It's crucial we make sure that Washington knows we are unequivocally opposed to any change to MID. Contact your representative and senators now. The easiest way is through 2 clicks of your mouse on the MID call for action, which can be found at realtoractioncenter.com. You can also contact your senators and representative directly using the contact information at these websites. Our lawmakers are at home on their district work sessions currently and can be reached through their Tennessee offices. Be active in the preservation of your career, your industry, and the American economy. I'll see you next week.